this is it. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to give it 100%. I'm going to give it all I've got. We call that massive action. You know, massive action, gets massive results. And I believed in that. And matter of fact, Nathan was talking last night about how we went from eight to faint. It's really true. I mean, I would start early in the morning, go late at night, and I would just stay at it. But back to my getting started, when I saw what David Lisenby had, his products, I thought, this is it, but I don't have any money to get started. I mean, all my money was gone at that point. And I remember sitting on the porch, on the front porch of my house, sitting in a chair, and I kept just thinking about my situation. And all I could think about was, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke, I'm broke. And finally a voice just jumped out and said, shut up! We know you're broke. Now let's do something about it. And then I looked out and I saw the only thing that was left from my bankrupt company was a junk truck. The tire was flat, the engine didn't start. And I thought, that's how I'll do it. I'll sell that truck to the junkyard. So I called somebody up. He said, yep, I'll come out and see what you got. He came out. He said, I'll give you $400 for it. I said, take it. And that's what he did. And that truck went away and I had $400. I put $200 in the groceries because I was getting rather thin at the time. And I put the other $200 into products to get started. Now my group did $17 million last month. $17 million. Now, you think about it. How you start a business with $200 and you stay with it and it becomes $17 million. See, it doesn't take money to make money. It takes passion. It takes heart. You gotta wanna. You gotta wanna. We say that in the South. If you want to be educated, you'd say, you gotta want this. Tennessee will say, you gotta wanna, man. So the thing about it was, that was my beginning. Now, I couldn't afford a phone bill at the time. It was pretty hard. As a matter of fact, my sponsor sent me over a cell phone, but I couldn't get good reception. I couldn't get good reception where I was, so I drive out into the farm hills of Tennessee. I open up a cattle gate, drive in. I don't know who the farmer was, and close it. I would get out my notes on the hood, and then I would start making phone calls. I mean, must be winter crud going down my throat. I started making phone calls and setting up appointments. And that was my executive office suite. You know, I had to watch where I walked because the hygiene wasn't so great. There's the noise factor with the animals. Yeah, you do what you got to do, right? And so that was how I got started. Now, at the time, I had not paid my, I guess I was 3 months behind on my truck payment to the bank. I hadn't paid my utilities either. I remember one day when I was at home, I got up and opened the door, and yes, sir. Sir, I'm with the utility department. You haven't paid your bill. I need to get a check. And I said, oh, okay. Yeah, sure, come on. Come out to the driveway. My checkbook's in my truck, and then I'll pay you, okay? So I go on out to the driveway. I walk out there with him, and as soon as I get out there, I look. Where's my truck? The bank came and got my truck. I said, where's my truck? Where's my truck? And the guy looks at me and says, sir, you look like a man with problems. No, I'm telling you, man, there was a truck there last night. It's gone. You do look like a man with problems. So he turned off my electricity. And then there was this, old man, this friend of mine, he was in his 80s. He felt sorry for me because I did look pretty pathetic at the time. And he gave me a car that it looked like it had been in his family 4 generations. It did have a little paint on it left. And so that was the car that I would drive out and go see people, you know, selling opportunity, right? I would park that car far from the eye so nobody could see me. You know, of course, I'd always show a picture of my dream car, me in front of a Mercedes. When I go down the Mercedes dealership, you know, it was one of those things. But I can remember, you know, at that time, when I would go out, as a matter of fact, I remember I was going to go to Cincinnati, Ohio one night to do a meeting. That was a long stretch from where I lived in Huntsville, Alabama at the time. And I had the oil changed. And I can remember driving just down the interstate thinking about, wow, man, things are coming together. I finally found some people that are really ready to rock and roll with this, get going with this. This is awesome. Things are going to happen. My life is going to change. And of course, what I didn't know was when he changed the oil, he forgot to put the plug back. So the oil was leaking out on the interstate when I'm driving down the interstate. So I'm driving thinking about all these great things, right? And all of a sudden, I hear a boom, boom, bam, bam. And the oil gauge is going, and my car's off the side of the road. And then, you know, I'm doing one of these on the interstate. I got to get to Cincinnati. That's all I can think about. Called my father. A truck picked me up, dropped me off at an exit. Called my father. I said, Dad, you know, I need a car. I got to get to Cincinnati. His response was, son, I think it's about time you get a job. You know, lost face with my father. And of course my brothers, you know, the ridicule, if you can imagine. My brothers are educated. They went to universities. One's an engineer. So my sister did as well. I'm the only one in the family who never went to college, okay? All right. So, and then I know what they're saying. Well, I know what they said to my father. Oh my gosh, he lost that business. He was doing so well. And he went through bankruptcy. I mean, he went into the toilet, and now he's doing one of those pyramids. Oh my gosh! What's next? We're going to be taking care of him the rest of our lives. Well, I did manage to get that car, so, and those are hard times. I remember one time when I came home, there was 100 messages on my answering machine, 100 messages. And I walked in with my friend, and he said, wow, and it was, you know, my creditors, right? It was all my creditors. And my friend said, wow, what will you do, 100 messages? And I said, oh, well, I'll show you. And I walked up, and I unplugged the machine, and I plugged it back in. I said, wow, look at that, went back to 0. I'm going to tell you, those were struggles. And every day I can remember I would listen to, any of you ever heard of Anthony Robbins, Unlimited Power? Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, back then, he was my mentor. And every day I would just listen to him. I mean, and I start my day with a notepad and take notes and just listen to him and what he was teaching. And I started brainwashing myself, getting that negative thinking out, that stinking thinking, started getting it out of my head and started filling my mind with the right principles and beliefs, the power of belief, that you believe you can succeed. And like Nathan was talking about earlier, the importance of selling you. We talk about transfer factors, the greatest thing, the For Life research. It's not. It's the you factor. That's the greatest thing. It's taking you, convincing yourself that you don't have to stay on a hamster wheel. You don't have to stay in that cage. That there is life outside that cage. You can get outside of that cage. You can find your potential in life and what you want to do with your life. I don't believe that we have a dream. I believe we have dreams. We have many dreams. And the thing that, once you achieve a dream, you don't dream for it anymore, do you? Because you have it. And if that was the only thing you had, you're not going to go any further. That's why diamonds remain diamonds, presidentials remain presidentials. They never advance because they had one goal. I got to pay the bills. Come on, there's greater goals, right? Greater dreams, things that can inspire you. And that was the thing I thought about with my life at that time. And sure, I call it the 3 S's, We go from scarcity. In other words, when we come into for life, we do want to pay our bills. We do want to be able to be independent so that we don't have to have a job. We go from scarcity to success. Success where we experience growth in our organization, and now we're beyond that. We can actually enjoy a beautiful car, own a home, enjoy 5-star vacations with our family. But the last S is very difficult, and that's called significance. Living a life of significance. Most people will never get there because they won't reach hard enough for it. But if you're a dreamer, if you have more than one dream, you're going to push yourself there. Are you that kind of person? Can I ask you that? Are you?
Yes.
Good. Because that's what happens. And how do we change that? Oh, we don't have an eraser here. Okay, anybody got a Kleenex? How we change that is what Nathan talked about. Even my sponsor talked about it recently with Nathan on the latest, what do you call it, 4 Life Live. That's what we call that. And so where Dave was talking about, you get out and talk to people, but you work through your leaders to find your leaders. If there's one secret that I had, and it's not really a secret, but it's a definite ingredient to success. And that is when you bring people in, and that's what I did, I would always ask those leaders, who do you know? Because if that person is 30, 40, 50 years old, they've met a lot of people in their lifetime. In their lifetime. But as I started working my business, and again, like I said, I was a student listening to Anthony Robbins, education, and then we start finding our leaders. We start developing our leaders. We start experiencing growth, and then finally we start experiencing the financial success that we desired. Wow, look how big my circle's become now. Look at that. It's a whole lot bigger than it was before. I've grown. I have grown. And I can remember when I came in this, all I could think about was $5,000 a month. That was all I wanted. And I remember in my 3rd month, I was there. In my 3rd month, my 1st month I was Diamond. My 2nd month I was Presidential. My 3rd month I was International Diamond. And that was when it was 25,000 life points on 3 levels. 25,000. So I hit the floor running because I was scared to death. I did, because I didn't want to fail. See, failure wasn't an option. It's not an option if you believe in your dreams. And I thought, if I don't make this work, then what's left? Well, then nothing's left, really. Unless you can be like Chris, who we just saw on the video, and be some movie star or a rock recording artist, but that's not easy. How many great musicians are out there, but they're not famous at all? I know a bunch. So the thing was, I knew this is what I wanted to do. I wanted not just money, it was time freedom. Because when you got all the time that you want, you can do anything you want with it, right? Like find your purpose, find your reason for being here on this earth. See, most people are on the hamster wheel. They're never going to get there because they can't get out of the cage. And so that's what I did. And so what happened with me was, with my leaders, I would say, well, who do you know? Well, they'd finally open up. For example, I have a lady I sponsored in Canada, and I said to her, I said, well, Linda, who do you know?